good. Sip of water. Ugh, okay, definitely getting sick, which is awesome. Hi, I'm Jake, and welcome back to Get This Game, where we're all about the board gaming goodness, and happy 2025. Like, 2024 was a crazy year in a lot of different ways. Personally, got married, which was really exciting. Went to my first board game convention, and ultimately, of course, just got a ton more games to the table than I think I ever have before. Now, I don't usually do a kind of yearly roundup, be it here or on my other social channels, which you can follow me somewhere over here. Simply because I don't think I'm at the stage yet where I'm playing enough games that have come out brand new in the past year to necessarily justifiably say these were the best and these were my favorites of 2024. But what I can do is still talk about my monthly games, and December was another banger for me. December just seems like the perfect month for gaming. Typically, weather's getting a little bit colder, so you're inside more, given more chance to play games, and you're going to be seeing a lot more people than you normally would, especially with family stuff. So there's just a lot of opportunity and space and chances to actually play board games, and I definitely kind of fulfilled that promise to myself this month. So what I've done is, of the dozens of games that I played in December, I've narrowed it down to a top 5 that we're going to talk about. So these are my top games from December 2024. Of course, if you like what you see and you like this list in particular, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. I have like a ton of backlog of reviews that you might have seen on my TikTok channel, but I do have more to say, and there are certainly plenty of games that I want to talk about more. Some of them are going to be mentioned in a little bit. But again, feel free to leave a comment and chat it up with me. What was your favorite game you played in December? Was there a particular game you played with your family that you really enjoyed and appreciated? Would love to know as we work through my list. At number 5 is going to be Heroes of Barcadia, which isn't here right now because it left such a good impression that my cousin immediately wanted to borrow it after we played it at this past Christmas. Heroes of Barcadia is a drinking game where you are basically going to don the character of a kind of classic RPG style fantasy world, and you are actually going to be moving your characters through a dungeon trying to search for the treasure, competing against each other. Now, what sets this game apart is, of course, the drinking aspect. Not going to be for every gamer, but in my case, this definitely worked because your health bar, your HP, your value is all determined by the drink in your glass. Basically, the game comes with a bunch of these glasses for each character that you can play as: a wizard, rogue, a necromancer, etc. And you're actually going to fill your drink up to the max health bar, and as you are facing enemies entering new parts of the dungeon, you are going to have to drink every time you take damage. Normally, again, like I said, drinking games, not necessarily my cup of tea if I had to choose a certain game to play. But there was something about this, that kind of cutesy, tongue-in-cheek art style and play style, as well as that kind of novel idea of actually moving around and having your health bar mean something in a really big way in this case, that was just charming, for lack of a better term. It's weird to say that a board game with drinking in it can be charming, and yet somehow I was very pleased with how this went. We played a game of 4. It's really cool kind of how you're moving and making it through each new area of the dungeon. This is a very, very light game, very luck dependent. You each have a 20-sided die, and every new enemy that you face has a certain kind of challenge score that you have to hit by rolling that die. Of course, if you don't reach it, then that's when you have to lose some of your HP. It was so simple, though. There was just enough little extra stuff going on in terms of power-ups that you can get and different kind of loot that you can get in the form of cards to kind of interact with other players. Cannot recommend this game enough if you can find it. I know it's only available in the States. I was able to grab my copy at PAX Unplugged. Really, really just dumb fun going on here, and all of the little nods to some of the little fantasy aspects of the world really made this one that's one I'm going to remember, and definitely one that I'm at least going to break out to not only my family, but my wife's family as well. At number 4 is going to be Botany, another game I picked up at PAX Unplugged, coming to us from Duxomnium. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Here you are botanists in Victorian England, and you are going to be venturing out on expeditions to other parts of the world collecting specimens of flowers and plants. You'll then bring those specimens back home to your estate where you are filling up your garden, gaining reputation as you go, and then ultimately once somebody hits a certain amount of reputation, you will count up all of the specimen cards that you have collected in these different regions, factoring in some endgame scoring, and whoever has the most points is going to win. Really great impression of this one. Where I fit this in terms of my overall collection is what I like to call a kind of next level game. This is a game that you put out in front of people who have enjoyed games like Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, Carcassonne, Catan. They've gotten that taste for what hobby board gaming can be, and they haven't been scared away. And then you break this out and you say, okay, we're going to play a game called Botany. It has some of those elements of some of those other games. You're working with a big map board. You are moving your pawns from space to space. And it has a little bit more going on mechanically to it. But ultimately, this is going to kind of, again, hopefully hook some of those people in and let them see, yeah, there is more than meets the eye to just the standard Ticket to Ride that maybe they play a few times each year. Really good impression of this one, like I said. You're going to be, again, moving across different parts of the board. There's a bit of kind of planning ahead and looking ahead to how you are going to get to certain parts of the region, because every time you go over a certain space, if you have the corresponding plant in your hand that is from that location, you can actually play it out, and that's how you're collecting all of those specimens. But you do have to keep in mind that there's some race elements going on here too. You can only hold a certain number of plants in your kind of case each time you go out, so it is a bit of a kind of I guess, optimization puzzle where you have to pick the exact amount of moves that it will take you to go out, get as many plants as you can, and then have time to head back to kind of cash in all of the benefits that you can at your estate. Again, this is like that kind of perfect level. Lighter to light medium, I would say. But again, because there's so many kind of crossovers here with the collecting cards that you would find in something like Ticket to Ride, the moving from location to location, putting out fires and cashing in on rewards in Pandemic. All of that kind of came together here in a theme that frankly we're pretty big fans of and we found really interesting. So with all that in mind, that might be something you want to keep in mind if you're looking for another one of those next level games that you can introduce to some of your friends who have kind of dipped their toe into that board gaming hobby. I find at least one party game kind of makes its way to the table and to these lists more often than not. And for me this month, that was Ito, which is a game from Arcane Wonders. This is a really interesting one, kind of difficult to explain, but it's a little bit like games like The Mind or The Game, mixed in with some kind of clue giving, clue guessing games like a, like a Codenames, for example. Basically, you are working cooperatively together, and you are going to be dealt a secret card that is going to be numbered from 1 to 100. You will then be given a category, and then everyone will go around the table giving a clue that would correspond to their number based on where that scale is. So one of the cards that came up was the best superpower to have. A number 1 would be the worst power ever. A number 100 would obviously be something like invisibility. Everyone's going to have a card along that scale, and they have to give a clue and then put their uncovered card into the center. And then everyone's going to work together to try and put all of those clues in the correct order from 1 to 100. After everyone is feeling comfortable about that arrange and order, you will reveal flipping over cards to see if you were correct. And boy, like that sounds super easy and super simple, but you will be shocked as you add more players to this game how difficult getting it in that order will become. There's advanced sort of rules in terms of if you do get it right, how to make it more challenging for yourself. But safe to say we never even got close to that, but we still had so much fun. This is one of those games where the objective and actually winning the game isn't as important as the clues that you're hearing around the table and the laughs that are generated from them. We were hitting all kinds of new levels of decibels with our laughter and our shouting around the table at this game based on what some people were saying. This is exactly this type of kind of feel that I was looking for when I was hearing about Ito, and it is delivering on that promise that a party game should, which is really it being about the people around the table more than actually winning and playing through the game and keeping score. Be warned, I think this is a game that is extremely kind of group dependent. You want people who are willing to kind of put themselves out there, giving a bit more of a silly clue or getting creative and as creative with their clues as possible, because you're not going to do well if everyone's kind of vague with their responses. Thankfully, my family is hilarious and did such a good job with this one. And as everyone kind of played through and got more comfortable, that's where we really kind of honed in on the essence of Ito. But definitely one, if you can get your hands on it, is definitely one to try out with a larger group. Number two is also not physically here because it was actually one of the games I played in my local weekly game night, and that is Wondrous Creatures by Bad Comet Games. Here you are essentially kind of wildlife preserve workers in a fantastical world who are going to be going out and exploring an island, collecting resources through worker placement so that you can pay to play out these cards that all feature beautiful art and unique animals to add to your kind of preserve, which is essentially your tableau. All of the creatures that are going to be played out have different kind of effects. There are one-time effects, effects for endgame scoring, ones that trigger at the start of each kind of new round or at your upkeep, all kind of different combinations. And of course, you're going to be working towards some kind of shared common objectives, trying to collect certain creature types, creatures from certain habitats, etc. Wow, this one impressed me. Honestly, because I think it combines elements from two of my other favorite games, especially ones I like to play with my wife, namely being Ark Nova and Everdell. Definitely taking a lot from Everdell here in terms of the design, right down to kind of how each card has a listed resource and where that listed resource is located, but also the worker placement and tableau element. The idea of putting your worker out to gather up resources to then play out creature cards into a tableau. I mean, that is quintessential Everdell. That's essentially what it is. But at the same time, you also care about these individual creatures' habitat tags, what type of food they prefer, and what type of creature they actually are. That sort of tableau element in the fact that you're working kind of towards certain shared objectives, that screamed Ark Nova top to bottom. So that world and those two games kind of combining just really sang for me, mixed in with the fact that, I mean, hey, you're like an adventurer getting to go out and explore and collect all of these cool animals and creatures. Each one, I'm pretty sure, has exactly unique art. No two creatures are exactly the same. Wow, what a great kind of first impression that I had with this game. Would certainly welcome and be happy to play it more. Did quite well. I'm pretty sure I won that game, so that doesn't hurt either. But this was one that, again, just has all of the different elements and stuff going on, mixed with a theme that appeals to me that I love in games. And so Wondrous Creatures obviously made a huge impact. And at number one, I am so pleased to say that I was able to get SETI to the table, a extremely heavy by my standards game from CGE, who did provide this as a copy for review, so thank you very much there. SETI is, of course, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. You are going to be sending out probes from Earth to explore different planets, essentially looking for new traces of life. Along with that, there are going to be a ton of unique cards, each representing real-world planetary and intergalactic technologies that you can play out that will give you missions to complete, some little benefits and bonuses to collect as you go through. Ultimately, you are going to be building up to collect these traces of intelligent life to actually reveal two unique alien species that will again give you more opportunities to go and explore and secure more traces and learn about the universe therein. This game has been the talk of the town, pretty high up on Board Game Geek's top 100 list, released at Spiel and then has finally come to North America as of PAX Unplugged. And this was exactly what I was looking for in terms of it just being a heavier weight, full-on, full-out, crunchy Euro experience that did not disappoint. Even some of the key selling points for me kind of fell into the background in favors of others. Of course, you have the it's become a bit of a meme now, that circular spinning board that is going to change based on the shifting of the planets. Yeah, that was cool, but I think what really gravitated me towards this is just how tight the economy is in this game in terms of your resources, credits, and then power. Those two kind of fueling the rest of your actions, being able to put out probes, have them orbit certain planets, have them actually land on planets to gain the bonuses therein on each one. That economy really really attracted me to that. And then the fact that you are introducing the different alien species here, where once a certain amount of life traces have been discovered, you're going to unlock those because they're unknown at the start of the game. And each alien species, there are 5 in the box, introduce their own new kind of gameplay, mini game, side quests that you can complete and work towards. That variability that comes in is something I'm, of course, a big fan of, to the point where I don't even mind not having asymmetric powers here. You know, I'm a fan of asymmetric powers wherever possible, different player abilities. Everyone is kind of playing the same game here, but the way you approach each objective and way to win is completely different. And I was impressed by that. I really tried to go hard on landing on as many planets as possible to gain those benefits. Another one of my friends ended up really focusing on orbiting as much as they possibly could and min-maxing there. Still somebody else really leaned into more of the kind of card mission sort of aspect, laying out a bunch of cards to try and work towards objectives there. There are just so many pieces going on here, and if you are a board gamer, a heavier Euro gamer, I think this is just one that you do have to cross off your list and at least try out. Trying to not be on the hype train too much here, but it's hard to not be because this game just has so much going on that I want to immediately get it back to the table again and play around with it more. But a great first impression to make it my #1 game of December. So like I said, I don't do like top games of the year by any means, but what a great way to kind of round out 2024, the year of gaming for me, certainly, with 5 games that just actually sung at the table and I all had really good experiences with. Until next time, once again, please do consider subscribing, turning on notifications, and commenting to help with that algorithm as we again continue to grow on YouTube. Of course, if you want more memes, overviews, and content in short form style, please do head over to TikTok at this Get This Game and at Instagram at Get This Board Game for more of that. But until then, as always, thanks for playing with me, and we'll see you next time.